So let's talk about your ideal marriage. What is it that you expect of yourself, and what is it that you expect of your husband?
Okay, so biblically, I always say biblically, and that's because, as I stated earlier, that it's my true north. We each have a role to play in the relationship, but when two people are actually coming together, they are coming together for a common good. And I don't believe in just a blanket approach of 50-50. Like if I'm bringing 50% finances, you should bring 50% finances. But I just believe in a connection between two people, a common understanding and a common goal to look towards.
Yeah.
And then bringing what you can bring, of course, with the thought of I'm going to love somebody else as I love myself, and I'm going to do unto someone else as I would have them do unto me.
Okay.
So my expectation generally is to connect with somebody who's like-minded, who's centered, whose frame of reference is God, and His Word and His statutes, and His approach. Likewise, for me as well, what I'm expecting of the other person
That's
is what
what
I'm
you're expecting of yourself.
to give.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd like to give what I get. And by that, again, I'm not speaking to a specific thing. When I say not 50-50, sometimes you could be in a season where you need me to carry the 100. So be it. I could be in a season where you, as the man, need to carry the 100. We could be in a season where we can equally bring the 50 each, 60-40, but we should all be looking towards the common goal.
Okay.
And you can look at it in the world of work. I'll make an example with the sales model. In the sales model, you find that there's a salesman who goes out and tries to get the business. And then there's the technical guy who actually gets the work done for the business that the salesman gets. There will be a season where the salesman is getting all the business or trying to get the business, and you are waiting in order for you to start producing. So there's no 50-50 there. That person is probably carrying the 100% load. And then once he gets the business here, you as the technical guy would then start producing, and that means that guy is now free. So I have the same mentality towards marriage or the relationship I like to see, that each would contribute fully and not withholding anything, knowing that we are one. We have chosen to become one.
Yeah.
And therefore, whatever they do as if they were one. Not, what is she bringing in? Or I saying the same thing. So
Yeah.
it's, that's my view of marriage. I'll bring in everything. And I expect you to bring in everything as my husband.
And by everything, I'd like to believe that you're not referring to physical things only,
By
right?
everything, I mean everything. Emotions, finances, physical things, everything. So who you are, bring in everything you are.
Okay.
That's I don't have a better way of elaborating everything, but I don't mean
All that
material.
you are.
All that you are.
Yeah.
Just be one with me. Don't hold back. Don't say that, there's, like right now, we have a society, we're growing in a society where there's a lot of, prenups.
Yeah.
There's, when you get married, just make sure that you have a prenup in place so that you protect your assets. And I don't think that's a good model for me if you are going into marriage. Marriage is a structure that God instituted, and if we're gonna go about marriage, then we're gonna go about God's way. Or let's not get married. That's my expectations.
Yeah.
If you are still gonna hold certain elements towards this marriage you are getting into, then if there's conditions to it, for me that is not a good model, and that is a recipe for failure.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that also not having condition is not a recipe for failure. there's chances that there will be a failure. But I think if we lean more into God's structure and He guides us, then we are a lot safer in that umbrella than we would be outside that umbrella. So, bring in everything. If we are having a prenup in place, let it be for the institution of our marriage, in the sense that, say, we are into business. And we want to protect ourselves should the business fail, but not within the marriage itself. So if we are having a prenup, it's just, you know what, I don't want to marry our assets to my business or our business because things can happen. That would then be a condition for that. But if it's, I don't trust you, if you don't trust me, then why are we even here, you know? And I'm not saying go ahead and trust me, hence the phase of a relationship, getting to know each other. But once we get to a point, we need to get to a point where you say, you know what, I now trust you and we can work towards marriage. And I want to give everything and I'd like to get everything from you. So that is my view. And that is, it's so rare now in the society, sadly. We have ourselves, we are selfish, we are a selfish generation. I think the other generations also were selfish, but it's so evident now that we are so selfish. You just wanna, I come in with this, and what do you come in with? And if you don't meet my standard here, then we can't go forward. Or if we do go forward, here's an NDA, sign it. So I think it would be perceived naive, but for me, let's bring in everything. And if we lose, I would have given everything with God being my backup plan. And if it fails, then I have God to look at, and I think God will vindicate me, and He will restore the losses. But if my heart walks in openly and I know that it's guided by God, then I'm not so afraid of walking and giving everything and expecting to get everything. So
thanks for that.
My view on my expected marriage.
What are your views on that? What are your views on prenuptial, or what agreements? Have you signed one? Would you sign one if you do, or if you have? What are your reasons behind it? Do you agree with what Wendy is saying? Do you not agree with it? Leave a comment down below. Can we talk about whether or not you had someone that you were in a relationship with and you thought, this is where we're going, we're going to get married, and this is it? Did you ever have such a relationship?
It's funny. Again, I think obliviously I've always dated with marriage.
The intention. Okay.
The end in mind. It has always been me. Even without knowing anything from that age of 15. So with all the relationships specified, I had that idea in mind up until the recent relationship, which for me, I was like, okay, I'm now grown. We have grown. Then this is it. We are working towards marriage. I've never just dated for the fun of it. I don't advocate for playing around. I don't advocate for just wasting someone's time. I don't advocate for just dating, and you can be friends. You don't have to date if you are still exploring your options, or you don't have an end in mind like marriage. Because a lot is at stake. You get intimate, you get connected, the soul ties. You invest your time, your finances sometimes. You invest so much in a relationship if it doesn't end in marriage. And I'm not saying that if it does end in marriage, it's a problem. If it doesn't end in marriage, it's a problem. However, I don't advocate for just dating for the sake of dating. So even in my relationships, I respected, or I believe I respected people enough now to just go ahead and we'll find out if I like you or if this thing can work. It is always, okay, I think this thing can work, and then I pursued it with that fully. And unfortunately, I don't think the people that I pursued this with had the same idea.
Right.
And it's very crucial that we are very much open and we communicate that clearly, because you end up having this idea and the person's like, dude, I was just,
Yeah.
trying to figure out, I'm young. And so I've always had that end in mind.
Yeah.
And I always do, I still do. If I'm not gonna be, if I'm still exploring, let's rather be friend. That is my take. Then in the friendship, we'll then further see, okay, I think there's potential. But once I get into that status of in a relationship, the end in mind is marriage.
Mm-hmm.